Ginger has it all. It's good for you, has depth of flavor, and works in many kinds of dishes. Like these 3 great ones. First, ginger and fiery spices give ordinary burgers a Korean flavor profile.
Woo! That was a pure hit of cayenne right there.
And here's an amazing ginger trick. Homemade ginger beer from a bartender buddy of mine.
Oh my God, that's
It's a lot
so...
of flavor. You can taste all the lime, you can taste
Everything's
the zest,
in
the
there.
cloves.
But wait a second. Where is the alcohol?
You want a kick, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna make a nice cocktail. We call it the Dark and Stormy.
Up next are my mussels, Asian style, with the Darjeeling pilaf. So we've got our ginger and some garlic. I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Okay, time to eat.
Don't mind if I do. Cooking with Ginger today on Sara's Weeknight Meals.
Hi, I'm Sara Moulton. Welcome to Sara's Weeknight Meals. This recipe is my all-Americanization of bulgogi, which is, along with kimchi, one of the most well-known dishes of Korea. Literally translated, it means fire meat. So it's essentially Korean barbecue. And what I'm going to do is take all the Korean sort of flavoring and elements and put them into ground chuck and make burgers. We're going to start with the kimchi, however, and this is my quick kimchi. What kimchi literally is fermented vegetables. It's most usually cabbage. Often it's Napa cabbage, which is what I'm using here, but it can be any vegetable. You can find kimchi in the supermarket, but it's so easy to make, why not do it yourself? So I'm cutting up a small head of cabbage into ribbons, and we need about 4 cups total. I'm just gonna pop them in this bowl here. And then we're gonna add salt, and don't be horrified, we are making a pickle after all. So we're gonna add 1/3 cup of kosher salt. And I was advised by one of my culinary producers here, who happens to be half Chinese, 2 things that weren't in my original recipe. One is, make sure you really work the salt into the cabbage. And secondly, she said, after you get it worked in, you need to put a weight on it. And what the weight will do is help the salt to continue to permeate the cabbage. So I'm gonna put a little plastic wrap on top, and then a weight, a cute little weight. You could use a can of soup or something. So we're gonna let it marinate for 2 hours. I'm gonna make the flavoring, the stuff that goes on top. We've got about 1/3 cup of rice vinegar here, and this is unseasoned, no salt and no sugar added. I'm gonna control that myself. And we're gonna heat it up with a tablespoon of white sugar. Now for our hot stuff, we're adding paprika and cayenne. The paprika could actually just be sweet paprika if you don't want it that hot, or it could be hot paprika. Hey, it could even be hot smoked paprika, whatever you feel like. And then the cayenne, of course, which is very hot, and that's 1/4 teaspoon. Traditionally, kimchi is both flavored and colored. It colors slightly from a Korean chili flakes that you can buy in specialty food shops. But I thought this worked very nicely, and most people can get these ingredients right at the supermarket. So the sugar needs to melt, and it needs to get hot. Wow, that would make a very potent tea there. Now we're gonna get down to all the rest of the vegetables that go in with the cabbage. We have a teaspoon of minced garlic. We have 1/2 of a large red bell pepper, finely minced. And I just need to do a little more ginger here. We need 1 tablespoon. You take a 3-inch piece and grate it on a microplane. And you know, when you're working with ginger, keep in mind that for every inch of ginger, I mean, this is just a rough guesstimate, every inch that you grate equals about a teaspoon of grated ginger. So 3 inches, 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon. That looks good to me. And a little more or less won't hurt you. And this is a very important ingredient too. It's really gonna give it a nice flavor. And then, last but not least, we have some scallions. And we're gonna just thinly slice them. So now I'm gonna go see how my cabbage that I've marinated for 2 hours is doing. This is what you've got left. So now we've got to rinse this because we want to get off that excess salt. So we drain it first, and then we rinse it with some cold water. dried. We're gonna add it to all the vegetables we got ready a minute ago. Okay. And then last but not least, our spicy vinegar. Woo! Isn't that a pretty color? I have to stand back too, because that was a pure hit of cayenne right there. It does really clean out your nasal passages. Let me toss this with my impeccably clean hands. Okay, I'm gonna leave this here to build my burger later. We're gonna go on down and do the burger part. Okay, let me grab, on my way, I need the meat from the freezer, and I'm gonna explain. What I have in this package here, it's 1.5 pounds of chuck. I took one big piece, I asked for 1.5 pounds from the supermarket butcher, and I cut it into 1-inch cubes because I want to grind my own meat. Sometimes you just don't know what goes into that ground meat that you buy in the supermarket. It's easier to grind up in a food processor too if you've chilled it, well, not chilled it, frozen it in these cubes for 30 minutes. I'm gonna pulse. To the bowl. We're gonna add some scallions, 4 medium scallions that we thinly sliced. And a little bit of ginger here too. We've got 3/4 inch, which means 3/4 teaspoon. A minced garlic clove. And then we've got a little bit of rice vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons, again, unseasoned. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1.5 teaspoons of dark sesame oil. And last but not least, we're gonna put some brown sugar. Gives it a little bit of a depth of flavor. So that is what goes into our burger. And with my impeccably clean hands, I'm going to mix it and shape it into 4 patties. Don't work it too much. You want a nice, loose burger, not a tight one. A little salt and pepper on here. Putting this on the counter so I don't stick my hand in the canister with my burger fingers. And these will take about 3 minutes aside. It depends on how you like your burger done. And we're using flavorless vegetable oil to saute them in. Okay, I'm gonna put salt side down. And then once I see it's almost done, I'm gonna salt the other side and turn it over. Whenever you cook a burger, don't smush it down, don't move it around, just let it do its thing. It will let you know when it's ready to be turned over. Okay, I just toasted the buns in the oven, which is a very easy way to do it. Get our burgers turned. These don't brown quite the same as a burger that didn't have all that liquid added to it. Oops, remember I said I was gonna salt this side before I flipped it. And add my pepper. Okay. So you can see, not quite as crusty, but we got some color there. So another 3 minutes, I'm gonna crank it, and we'll be ready to go. Whoa. So good. So now we're gonna top this off with some of our kimchi, and we have the most delicious combination of flavors and textures. There you go. We're serving it with some miniature heirloom potatoes that we've just steamed briefly. You know, who knew you could make this exotic Korean burger with homemade kimchi on a weeknight? You can. I'm so excited to have a friend with me today, Louis Pretorius from South Africa, love the accent, who's a bartender extraordinaire. And today he's going to show me how to make something that I love, which is ginger beer. So let's get started. What do we do first?
So we are going to add 1 cup of ginger, freshly cut.
Okay. Oh, but can I show you a little trick?
Yes, please.
If you don't want to waste any ginger,
you just use a spoon and you can peel it so you get every last bit of the flesh. You don't waste anything. All right, I'm done with my tip of the day. Okay. So.
Excellent. So we're going to take this 1 cup of freshly cut ground ginger and we're going to add it to a quart of water.
Okay.
And then we're going to put it in our blender.
Yeah, that's one blender. My God, that's frightening.
Looks like something from Star Wars.
It does. Looks like Darth Vader. Oh, my goodness. Okay, that is a super machine. Is that a special bartender blender?
We use these especially at functions to not have that much noise when you do
Okay.
the blending. Here we go.
So it's like we just made a ginger shake, sort of.
Basically, yes. We want it into a puree so that we can extract as much as possible the flavor of the ginger.
Got it.
So basically then we're going to take our blender and we're going to strain our puree into our pan. We don't want all those unwanted little pieces.
Of ginger in there.
And we're going to squeeze it through.
Should I just push it in with this thing?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you hold and I squeeze. Okay, actually, you know what Jacques Pepin taught me? That
There we go.
this is a Jacques Pepin trick. It's a good one. And then I'll smush it a little more to get everything out of there. I'm interested. Do you have ginger beer in South Africa?
Yes, ginger beer originally started with the Brits in the UK. And as you know, South Africa was colonized by the British.
Okay.
So that's why I decided to become a professional at making ginger beer.
Okay, I'm sure that's why you did. Okay, I think that's good, right?
Excellent, yes.
Okay.
We got all the flavor out of that. Now we are going to add the zest and the juice of 1 whole lime.
That's a nice addition. It's not just straight ginger.
Then we're going to add the zest and the juice of 1 whole orange.
Nice, so this is very refreshing.
Yes, original recipe.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Then we're going to add 3 cloves and a stick of
1,
cinnamon.
2, 3. We're getting wild here with the cloves.
Yes, yes.
And 1 stick of cinnamon.
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then
Then we're going to add 2 cups of sugar.
1.
And obviously, depending on the results, whether you like it more sweet, less sweet, you can always adjust your,
Yes, yes.
your content of sugar. After that, we're going to bring it to a medium heat simmering. We just want to get our sugar thoroughly melted.
Melted.
You might need the rubber spatula just to stir
Yeah,
this
go
through
ahead.
a little bit. Once the sugar is dissolved, we're going to switch off the heat, leave it to steep for a while, 1 hour, I would suggest.
okay.
And after that, we're going to strain it 1 more time, but this time we're also going to use a cheesecloth.
Okay.
Once we have that, you have your ginger beer, your final product, and you will be able to chill it and use it in cocktails. And
Can we taste it?
definitely, I have a little surprise for you today.
You do? Oh, I like that. Boy, that's a beautiful color, isn't it?
Now we're going to taste the ginger beer that we made.
All right, chin chin.
Ching ching.
That is, oh my God, that's
It's a lot
so.
of flavor. You can taste all the lime, you can taste the
Everything's
zest,
in
the
there.
cloves.
And you finished with
everything.
the ginger. Delicious. But wait a second. Where is the alcohol?
The word ginger beer is a little bit misleading, as the most modern ginger beers do not have alcohol. When it was discovered or made the first time, they used to add a wild yeast culture, which would then ferment up to a maximum of 11%, and that's where the beer connotation came to ginger beer. But
What are you going to make for me now?
you want a kick, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to make a nice cocktail. We call it the Dark and Stormy. So, interesting story. This whole cocktail's name and everything came from Bermuda, where we had the Royal Navy Club of Bermuda. They first made this cocktail. And you will see in just a second where the name actually comes from, because we're going to add the secret ingredient on top.
Okay.
So, a little bit of dark rum.
Oh, I'm getting it.
And
Yeah,
like
that-
the officers of the club used to say, this looks like dark, ominous clouds, which only a fool or a dead man would sail under.
Oh boy, that is so cool. Oh, look at, oh.
Beautiful straw for you.
Oh, thank you.
And for me. Classically garnished with
That is so beautiful.
a lime wedge.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have a little taste.
You'll have to taste it.
Yes. Oh, you have to stir it.
Mix it through.
Otherwise
a
you
little bit.
get drunk on the first
You
3
get
sips.
straight rum.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Cheers.
This has been fun. Oh, now it's perfect. I mean, it was darn good before. This is one heck of a cocktail.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Up next are my mussels, Asian style, with the Darjeeling pilaf. And I'm starting with the pilaf because it takes a little longer than the mussels. We need about 2 teaspoons of ginger. This is sort of the Asian influence here. And then some garlic as well. Now, I've already brewed some Darjeeling, very strong tea, because we want to bring that nice flavor in there. And let me get these things cooking. Okay, let me turn this on. And here we go. Just a little bit of oil. I'm using grapeseed oil. I generally use a flavorless vegetable oil, and my favorite is grapeseed when I'm doing Asian cooking. And now a pilaf is a rice dish where you toast the rice first. And we're adding these flavorings. So we've got our ginger and some garlic. You could add some onion too if you want, but I'm just keeping it real simple because we've got plenty of things going on in the mussels, with the mussels. Now, while that's just getting a little fragrant, let me grab my rice. Now, I love rice for Asian dishes. It's so appropriate. White rice is great. Any rice is great. But because it's a great sauce absorber, you just want to capture that sauce somehow. And why not do it with rice? This is a particular kind of rice from the West Coast called Calrose. And it's a medium grain rice, which is similar to our Boreal. So we're going to saute the aromatics first and then add the rice. And what this does is gives it a little bit of extra flavor. It coats all the grains and makes it really nice. I'm going to take my very strong brewed Darjeeling. So that was a cup of rice. It's now a cup and 3/4 of the tea. Isn't that a beautiful color? Darjeeling has a flavor like a muscatel. It's sort of a robust tea. I'll bring this up to a boil, and then we turn it down to a simmer, and I'm going to put some paper towels on top, which helps to keep the steam in. It should cook perfectly in about 20 to 25 minutes, and then you just let it sit for 10 minutes and fluff it up, and it's good to go. Good. And we're going to come on down and start with mussels. Again, Asian dish, so Asian ingredients. When you're making Asian dishes like this one, because everything only spends about a minute in the pan, if I didn't prep everything ahead of time, it would all burn by the time it got its chance into the pot. I'm going to keep the whites and the greens separate, because the greens are going to go in as a garnish later. And I've already minced some ginger and garlic. We have 1.5 teaspoons of garlic and 2 teaspoons of ginger. So there's our whites. Now, what's so great about mussels, like clams, is that they're a twofer. You don't just get the delicious mussel, you get the juice that it gives up. So I just love cooking with both of them. There we go. And now I've got over here some fermented black beans. This is, they're not actually black beans the way you think of them, like Mexican black beans. These are actually fermented soybeans. And what's so great about them is they add depth of flavor. But they're very, very salty, so you need to rinse them. And now I'm going to mash them before they go into the dish. I'm sure you've had them in broccoli with black bean sauce. And you know what? These days you can find fermented black beans even in the supermarket. And if not, at Asian stores. Just instant flavor. There we go. And we're working with grapeseed oil, about 2 tablespoons. And then our ginger and garlic. And go, yeah, there we go. Now I can hear the sound. It's making noise. You want your pan to talk to you. Okay, in go our black beans, and then we're gonna add some dried small chilies. So I'll do 4. I love that heat. And now I'm gonna take 1 red bell pepper and cut it into lengths and then 2-inch strips. Give it a stir or 2. another minute or two. We're just softening them because they're gonna cook in there. This is all gonna cook in with the mussels. Okay, so today I have wild mussels. These have already been scrubbed. You have two main choices at the fishmonger. You have wild, and you also have cultivated. Now, how I know these are wild is because they're really big. The cultivated are much smaller, shinier shells, and they rarely come with this. And this is referred to as a beard. Sometimes it's hard to pull out just with your hand, so you take a towel and pull it off. There we go. I have one more here, I think. This guy is not kicking. If you see any that are open, tap them, and they should close if they're still alive. And if they're not, into the garbage. Okay, so dump them in. Then we're gonna add a half a cup of chicken broth. I like a flavored liquid, and I'm not really a fan of the fish stocks that you buy in the supermarket or the clam juice. But because we all know how salty shellfish can be, I either use my own homemade chicken stock when I have it in the fridge, and that is very low sodium, or I use the low sodium stock from the supermarket because most chicken broth that you buy in the supermarket is very salty. So we don't need salt upon salt upon salt. This is gonna take, because these are big guys, this might take up to 5 minutes for them to open. And what I'm gonna do, as they open, I am going to remove them, because if I waited for all of them to open, the first one that opened, which might be 2 minutes from now, would be in there for another 3 or 4 minutes while the last one opens, and all it's doing when it opens up is getting tough. All right, we're gonna add to our chicken broth that we have left. It's a cup total, so a half cup goes in then. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 tablespoon of rice wine or sherry, and 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. Light would be a good idea here, again, because we're trying to keep the sodium down. And the cornstarch is gonna dissolve for a minute. I'm gonna go chop up my bok choy. So here's our bok choy. We're cutting it in half, this baby. We're just gonna cross-cut slice it. Oh, I see some activity. Yes, okay. Here we go. I can see in this corner, there we go. If you have one, like this one, that's been here, last one in, and it's not opened, it's probably not gonna open. And as a matter of fact, if it does open, it might be filled with sand. So I'm just gonna throw it in there. That can happen. We don't wanna risk it. We've got all this delicious juice in there. Now, you see how the cornstarch has separated out in the bottom? I wanna thicken this, but I have to re-whisk it. So now my liquid is gonna go in there with me whisking. Cornstarch is the thickener of choice for Asian cooking. We want to bring it back up to almost a boil. It doesn't need to be quite at a boil. Cornstarch thickens pretty quickly. And then I'm going to add in, there we go, all of my bok choy. And we're just going to steam it for a minute. We're just going to cook it in the liquid. It's going to give off some water. So we'll thin down the sauce a little bit. We want it to be crunchy, though. That is beautiful. Okay. So now I'm going to put the mussels. You could do this with clams, exact recipe too, and just let them reheat and give off their liquid. And I'm going to check my rice, and I think we're ready to go. Okay. Let's fluff this up, and it's time to serve. Just a little bit. Be gentle with the rice. We like it light and fluffy, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to start with a little rice on the bottom, and then our mussels and their delicious sauce. See that pretty color? That is from the Darjeeling, and the flavor is wonderful. So we'll take some mussels, and I've got to get the liquid too, because the liquid, it's all about the gravy. But the mussels are awfully good too. Good about this, it's good diet food. It's fairly low-cal, absolutely. It's very lean. There's not a lot of fat and calories in this, but what's great about it is it takes so long to eat the mussels. You can only eat one at a time. It's one of those dishes that makes people slow down and eat the way they should. You know, you can't just scarf it down. There we go. It's our scallion greens. Yay. Well, I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. Okay, time to eat. Bivalves for dinner, what a great idea. I mean, whether you make Dale Taldy's pad thai oysters, or if you make my mussels Asian style with Darjeeling tea pilaf, so simple, so delicious on a weeknight. I'm Sara Moulton. I'll see you next time.